Okay, so this is an unboxing of the County Line post hole digger from Tractor Supply. And this is one of the newer models. I've watched some videos, and there was a really good video from about 8 years ago, I think. And I compared that model to this model, just quickly and visually. And a lot of the specs are the same, but there's a few things like this comes with a stand, those two red bars, and the older ones did not, I believe. So this PTO is a 540. They were 540 in the past. And I read all the comments, not all of them because there were thousands of them, but I read a lot of the comments, and there were a few main issues that kept coming up. One of which was the weld quality. Now, I am not a professional welder. I am a farmer, so I'm not going to act like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to welding. But my humble opinion is that is probably still an issue. I noticed a couple of spots over here that were probably too hot and just inconsistent. A couple of the main beads look really strong, but anyway, we will see if that's an issue or not if it starts to come apart. But I did a quick visual inspection. As I'm unboxing it here, you'll notice I already took off some of the straps and everything. I cut open the plastic. I haven't removed anything yet. But as I put this together, I'll go through and continue the video and just kind of talk through what I'm doing and what I notice. And then I'm going to test some holes. My goal is to get 400 post holes out of this. Now, I'd like to have it for the rest of my life, but it's a $650 product. It used to be $500, but they marked it up, and I think the markup was recent. $649. Now, this is without the auger attachment. The auger attachment was about $100 more. If you bought the 9-inch, I went with the 12-inch and spent $119. So felt like, well, I can use the 12-inch for 9-inch stuff, but I can't use the 9-inch for 12-inch stuff. So if I need to plant some trees, I can do that with the 12-inch, and the post holes will be fine digging it out at 12 inches and filling it back in. So I had a couple more notes, but I can't remember what they were. So we'll get started on this. I'm just going to set it up, then attach it, put it all together, attach it to the tractor, and then go from there. My humble opinion here is that those who were using this and had issues with it coming apart after 3 or 4 holes, which seemed to happen through the comments, those issues were because they were running this way too fast. This is rated for 18 horsepower and I think between 18 and 100. But the John Deere post hole digger, which is $2,350 without tax, is not rated for 100 horsepower. So you can't convince me that this product, made in China, is rated for 100 horsepower and will actually hold that and dig 400 holes at 100 horsepower. But the John Deere product is not rated the same. Now, the John Deere product, I also visually inspected that before I purchased it, and it was very heavy. It's a hefty product, heavier than this and bigger than this, more stout than this, and it's made in America. So I wanted to try and see if this would work for me before I jump to a $2,300 product. So my point is, I think those who had issues with the welds were probably running this way too fast, because some of the higher quality ratings that I saw in the reviews were from people who actually noted that they ran this product slower, and they just ran it at a slower RPM, and it worked great for them. I did notice that, and correlation does not equal causation, but we're gonna find out. So I felt like this was a good risk to take. If it blows up, I'll take it back and I'll go get the John Deere. So let's start getting this thing together. One of the things that I noticed on the reviews of the older models. Again, this was about, the first video I saw was 8 years ago. And then I looked at some reviews that were like 2 years ago. There was significant play in this portion right here, where it connects to the top end of the tractor. So that play is no longer there. I don't know if you can really tell, but you could easily move this back and forth. And you know, there was probably a quarter inch of play back and forth. You can go look at some of those videos if you can find them. But this is substantially more snug, which may have been one of the reasons why a lot of the welds were starting to break, along with the welds maybe not being up to quality. But if the unit is just shaking and slamming back and forth up against that because of the amount of play that it has at the top end, I don't know, maybe the welds just won't hold as easily. Just speculation, but that is a good sign. They fixed that problem, it looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna make a recommendation to you guys. I just tried to put all of the gearbox and everything together with the guard that goes around the gearbox so that you can attach the stand and then you can attach the control lever and all of that. And I think it would be a whole lot easier to do it on the tractor. So I'm gonna take all that apart and make a recommendation to you to assemble it on the tractor. Attach the boom, attach the A-frame to the base, then attach them both together. Then while it's hanging there, throw the gearbox on, you don't even have to mess with it. You just have to flip it around a whole lot. It's not worth it. So that's my recommendation, assembling this thing. Do it that way. All right, brought this just below chest height. We should be good. Probably easier to work on at that level. This, can't remember if I mentioned this earlier. You want to be aware of this. One of the complaints is that when the hydraulics are fully engaged on the tractor, that there's too much metal here and it'll smash into the back of your tractor here at the base of the boom. So just keep an eye on that the first time that you engage the hydraulics. Mine had about a 1.5 finger width of space. So we'll go ahead and do the rest of this. Wanted to make a quick note. I've attached the control arm here and it doesn't even come close to where it needs to come in order for me to operate it from the tractor. So keep that in mind. Sure, that's a great idea. I'm gonna get up here in the tractor. So this is where I'm gonna be dropping the unit and reaching back and not even able to get anywhere close. So let's see if I can somehow reach it. Okay, if you climb over the back of the tractor, yeah, you can reach it. So not a very safe way to operate this thing. I'm gonna give you a better visual. not very safe. There's probably a way to extend this if you wanted to. It's not a very complicated setup. You could probably weld something to the end of this and drill a hole through it, and then just create your own extension. So just a thought. So I basically got it all together. I just need to attach the auger to the post hole digger. This does not come with lubricant. You need 80W90. So make sure you pick that up when you purchase this. Just figured I'd save you a trip. So we just got a ton of rain. It just started to torrentially downpour. And my dog, Traeger, my dog absolutely hates the rain. It's his worst nightmare. And so you probably saw him walk up and say hello. It's because he's scared half to death. All right, I had to change the setup again and close the door and pull the tractor in because the rain we were getting was starting to blow through the door and hit the hay. And the hay should be fine, but doesn't need to be open. So I kind of changed things up a little bit. We'll get it from this angle. Okay, there's a couple of design flaws here with this control arm. The first one I already mentioned, which is it's not long enough to reach the seat so that you can safely operate the control or the swing arm and the hydraulics at the same time, which you have to do if you want to get the auger in the marked spot and then drop the post hole digger and disengage the hydraulics. You have to do that at the same time, one hand on this and then one hand on the hydraulics. Doesn't work. I have to reach over the back of this and be completely out of the seat, stomach on the back of the seat to reach it. And I'm 6 foot. My wingspan is 6'1". So keep that in mind. The other thing is when it's attached, when the control arm or the swing control arm is attached inside of that, and then you drop it on its support legs, its stand legs, it does press up against this. You can see the red paint marks on here. So I did not bend it, but it does press up against it. So depending on how long your auger is here, which is, I think it's 48 inches in length, this one is. If you get one that's slightly, let's say, longer, it will bring this angle up and it will bend your control arm. So you need to take this thing off, let's say before and after you use it. So anyway, or I have a pipe bender, so I'm just gonna bend it a little bit and give it an angle up so it doesn't come on, but keep that in mind. Another thing I'll note for assembly is that you might think, as I did, that this A-frame is symmetrical, and it is. And so you might go to mount it without reading the instructions, as I did. But keep in mind, this piece here that holds the PTO shaft when it's not connected to the tractor is too long to fit on this post if the post is faced this way. So if I had mounted this the opposite direction, completely spun it around, it would have been on that side, and it would be facing up, in which case it would be long enough or short enough for the PTO shaft to slide in and rest on that holder. So keep that in mind. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just gonna pull this off and flip it around. Exhibit A. So if it's mounted the other way, you can't lower it far enough and keep it off the ground in order to attach this into the PTO shaft. Because as soon as you set it on the ground, it will push that up and you won't be able to disconnect it, so, or take it off. So keep that in mind. It's a great unit. So far, assembles very easily. I love the stand because I have multiple tractors and a handful of implements, and being able to swap between tractors is a must for me. All of my PTOs are 540. Nothing is different. It's all the same, and that's one of the reasons why I love this. So that tractor might overpower this because of what I mentioned earlier, where the horsepower is rated to 100, but I doubt that's the case, because if you throttle this thing all the way up, I bet you it's going to shake around and these welds are going to bust. So just my opinion, I think that's why people have run into that problem. I am going to test this after I fill this with gear oil, and I saw another guy test the unit, the older unit, and it tested very well when the horsepower or the throttle was kept down. So it's got plenty of power. Obviously your tractor will have plenty of power. Just don't get greedy and try and do it and whip it really fast and then shake the unit apart. The other thing you might want to do is lock your swing bars so that it doesn't shake around that much. So something to think about. I picked up some gear oil, and I read in the owner's manual up to the section where it instructs you to fill this, and it does not say how much goes in here. So I did a quick AI Google search, and it said 32 ounces, 2 pints, or a quart. So whatever your preferred measurement there is, but I picked up double just in case. So we're gonna take this little guy out. This is your overflow, and then this is where you actually put the oil in. So you take this out. When it starts to overflow, that's when you're full. So we're gonna do that right now. This bolt has a pressure cap on the top of it. In one of the reviews that I watched, a gentleman was talking about how these pressure caps don't work as well as they should. So one of the things that you might want to do is test it. You could probably pop it up with some sort of, I don't know, I would hesitate to use pliers or anything on it because you don't want to bend it, because then it may not even work correctly. So I don't know how you would test these. Maybe that's something that I can look up, but a lot of the seals on these things will start to leak. And if this is not working, if the pressure builds up and this little cap right here on top doesn't pop up with a hole to release pressure, then your seals will blow, obviously. So keep that in mind. You may want to check this somehow. So what I'm going to do before I go test it is give you a visual on some of the welds here, so you can make your own assessment on whether you think it's quality or not. So there's this bead here on the boom that goes all the way down to the base. And you've got attaching the boom to the piece that connects to the tractor. It's a little dark. You've got the underside of this right here. Again, it's a little dark on this side, but this is very uneven if you ask me. I'll give you a visual on the outside of this. And then on the other side, this bead is pretty similar to the other. And you got this, connects the A-frame. So, I don't know. I would love to know what a professional welder thinks of this. All right, I'm gonna give you a little test hole. Pardon all of the mess. I'm in the middle of building a barn back there. So, there you go. Okay, something you probably couldn't tell is that how easy that was. This, I left the tractor out on idle, and I took my time with this. I didn't press it down. It was bouncing the first couple of times I pulled it back up. That's because of the tractor, not the implement. My hydraulics are very sensitive, so when I pulled up on them, it just popped it up. So that's going to be different for every tractor. So you'll notice a couple times in the beginning it just kept popping up like that, and you heard the tinging. That's why I took that off. It just was annoying. It didn't need to be there once I got it set. It went down no problem whatsoever. This is clay, so it's a little wet, not completely dry, if that gives you any indication of what the dirt is like. a little cleanup. I don't know if you could tell. I think with any post hole digger, there's kind of a little bit of cleanup. I could have kept going down and pulling more dirt out and spraying it, but I don't know. I hope this helps you. It's helped me a lot. I'm not completely sold on the product, to be honest with you. I want to do about 30 or 40 posts and then make my decision. Gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure whoever was busting these welds were probably running this at 100. Like just like, oh, my tractor's not 100 horsepower, it's 50. So I'm just gonna crank up on that and it's gonna rocket around and throw it. And no, that's not, you don't need to do that. Theoretically, I can see how it would be rated for that on paper, but that's not needed. And it's just gonna beat your implement up anyway. I had the tractor on idle and it got down there just fine, and I did it slowly because this was the first one and I was just testing it. So it didn't struggle at all. Just a thought.